Where all the people that Stephen A. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Whispers of Caitlin Clark heading to Europe have sent ESPN into absolute chaos. The network that spent months dismissing her brilliance now finds itself cornered, suddenly realizing they may have seriously underestimated her power. For an entire season, ESPN cast her as overrated, a player whose talent was inflated by hype, but now, the tables are turning, and they're starting to panic. Analysts who once dismissed her as a novelty, as someone who wasn't serious about the game, are scrambling to regain control of the narrative. Molly Cum, infamous for denying Caitlin's impact all year, insisted Clark was mocking the sport. How could anyone say that without cracking a smile at the absurdity? But the truth is undeniable. Caitlin Clark didn't just play the game, she redefined it, igniting debates, breaking records, and forcing everyone who doubted her
versus Caitlin Clark. And that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark
tried to dismiss the truth, claiming Caitlin Clark wasn't being singled out by opposing players. Yet the stats, and the bruises, told a far darker story. She was the most fouled player of the entire season, taking hits that left her battered and, at one point, sporting a black eye. Every game felt like a battle, and yet she kept rising, refusing to break under the relentless pressure. Now, whispers of Europe loom like a storm on the horizon. If Caitlin uses her time off to explore opportunities overseas, it could shatter ESPN's control and leave the WNBA scrambling. Suddenly, the analysts who spent months shaping the narrative would be powerless, left with nothing but stunned silence as she takes her talent to a stage they cannot touch or control.
We're not saying we
No, Andrea, I'm not gonna let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not gonna let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points.
The fire Caitlin Clark carries on the court has always been too hot for ESPN to handle, but now, that fire threatens to burn them entirely. Rumors that she might take her game to Europe instead of sticking to the WNBA have the network scrambling, their carefully constructed narratives crumbling in real time. All season, they belittled her, dismissed her triumphs, and elevated others, but now, the reality they tried to ignore is staring them down. The very player they tried to undermine, the one they labeled overhyped and unproven, could vanish from the American spotlight entirely, taking her brilliance, her audience, and her influence with her. Panic pulses through the halls of ESPN, because losing Caitlin Clark isn't just a blow to ratings, it's a gut punch to their credibility, a catastrophe they never saw coming.
Felt every place she goes, every arena she goes. TV,
For months, ESPN wove a relentless narrative, casting Caitlin Clark as the second best story in women's basketball while elevating Angel Reese as the rising star to watch. From the very start of the season, the network pushed the idea that Angel was outshining Caitlin, framing Clark's record-breaking college dominance as somehow insufficient or overhyped. Despite her undeniable talent and game-changing presence, Caitlin was constantly painted as falling short of the impossible expectations placed on her. The comparisons never stopped, a ceaseless barrage of critiques, doubts, and whispers, fueled by analysts like Molly Cum and Monica McNutt, who seemed determined to question her place among the league's elite at every turn. Yet, beneath the noise, Caitlin's brilliance only grew, threatening to shatter the very narrative ESPN tried so hard to control.
Lots of folks that don't think she is praised enough and she is above reproach in terms of criticism, or that praising another player is an affront to her is like, whoa, bro. You're in my mentions talking about women's basketball? I've never ever seen you.
The criticism felt deliberate, almost surgically designed, a mission to keep Caitlin Clark in the shadows, to downplay every breakthrough, every highlight, every moment she proved herself on the court. For months, ESPN treated her as a spectacle, not a star, framing her talent as nothing more than media hype. But now, karma is closing in. The network that spent the season tearing her down is terrified of losing her entirely. If Caitlin takes her game to Europe, she could carry her massive fan base with her, leaving ESPN with nothing but empty broadcasts and lost influence. The same player they belittled, dismissed, and questioned might vanish from American airwaves, forcing the network into a frantic scramble to rewrite the story, desperate to reclaim control before it's too late.
Hey, that's what we're saying. You
No, Molly, you did not say that, Molly. No,
saying
no,
it.
That's what you said.
You
That's
did not.
what you
That's
said.
not what you said.
Now, ESPN is beginning to realize the truth. Caitlin Clark is far more than a player, she's a force that shapes narratives, drives conversations, and defines entire storylines. Her presence isn't just content, it's currency. Losing her to Europe wouldn't just leave a gap in ESPN's programming, it could send shockwaves through the WNBA itself, a league that has relied on her star power to captivate fans and command attention. Suddenly, the network that once dismissed her is forced to reckon with the power they helped create, scrambling to salvage control as her potential departure looms like a storm on the horizon.
Love for the WNBA to make voting not anonymous, because if you were the person that had that one vote, you should just be able to stand on it, and we should know who you are. In the NBA, voting is not anonymous.
Yeah.
So I would love for the WNBA to make the voting so we see who put the votes.
All season long, voices like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe stood out as rare defenders of Caitlin Clark, reminding the world that her greatness on the court was undeniable and unstoppable. They called out the unfair targeting, both from ESPN and opposing WNBA players, pointing out that much of the scrutiny stemmed from her rookie status and the spotlight she carried from college fame. They argued the criticism was relentless, excessive, and entirely unmerited, yet even with their support, Caitlin faced constant attacks. Analysts like Molly Cum and Monica McNutt, along with certain PN commentators and rival players, painted her as a high-profile rookie who needed to be humbled, someone who supposedly wasn't ready for the limelight. But Caitlin refused to crumble. Week after week, she rose above the noise, delivering a rookie season that stunned the league, revitalizing the Indiana Fever and proving herself as one of the brightest young stars in basketball. She didn't just survive, she transformed a team that had long languished near the bottom, leading them to a postseason appearance that felt impossible. With 2 All-Stars and the reigning Rookie of the Year in the lineup, Caitlin guided Indiana to triumph, showing leadership and talent that silenced even her harshest critics. Her stats, 20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds per game, tell the story of her dominance, even if some focused on the occasional turnover. Despite these extraordinary feats, ESPN clung to their narrative until Caitlin's brilliance became impossible to ignore. Then, almost overnight, the network pivoted, praising the very star they had spent months disparaging, a sudden, almost comical reversal that only highlighted her power. Caitlin didn't need their approval. She had already proven every doubter wrong, turning pressure and criticism into fuel for greatness. Now, as whispers of Europe grow louder, it's clear, moving overseas wouldn't just be a career decision, it would be a message to ESPN and the WNBA, a stark reminder of what happens when one of the game's most extraordinary talents is undervalued. Caitlin Clark has already shown she cannot be contained, and the world is only beginning to witness the true scope of her impact.